Hi, it's Ben from Snowboard Gamer. I'm here with my cousin Will.
Hello!
For episode 4 of Board Game Stories. In Board Game Stories, I interview someone. We talk about how they got into board games, what kind of board games they like, what their progression has been, and hear everyone's journey. Everyone has a different journey as they get into the world of board games. So I'm starting with the first question, Will, for you is, did you play games as a child?
We did. We liked to play lots of games as a kid. We played games like Aggravation or Trouble. Cootie, I remember playing. We always played lots of games at Grandma and Grandpa's. We had Racco there and
Shoot the Moon.
Shoot the Moon.
I remember that one.
Lots of games like that there. And so that was kind of something we always did.
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite game as a child?
Ooh, the favorite? Oh, that's hard to pick. I know that we played Aggravation a lot. We played a lot of Sorry. That one ended up in some fights sometimes, but it was still fun. We still like to play it.
Cool. So what was the first board game that got you into the modern era of board games?
Well, a few years ago, I had a cousin visit from out of town, and we ended up, for New Year's Eve, and we ended up spending all night playing games. We played Catan, we played Acquire and Guillotine, and we had a lot of fun with that. It just went from there. We ended up buying Catan, playing a lot of that, and then we moved on to Carcassonne and Agricola and Small World and games like that.
Okay. So we played some that night. I remember that. That was a lot of fun. That cousin was me, by the way. And that was a really memorable New Year's Eve. I remember that. That was a lot of fun. I remember playing with your older brother, and he's like, board games. And then we played Catan. And he sat there when the game ended, and he's like, let's play again. And we just had a blast playing all night long. That was a fun time. So after that, you mentioned a few games. So what was your progression after your initial introduction in Catan and some of the old classics?
We played Catan a lot with my brothers and everything. We ended up getting Carcassonne, and so we could play it 2-player with my wife and I. And we played that one a lot. From there, we jumped to Agricola, which was a big jump, but it was lots of fun. Again, mostly that was just 2 players with the 2 of us. We got Small World. That one was another one that we liked playing with my brothers and kids and things. And that was kind of our first 4 that we played for a lot. Those games had a lot of plays on them. Well, we were still just kind of finding out what was out there.
I feel like that's kind of a natural progression. You play one, you're like, oh my gosh, these games are fun. And then you buy 2 or 3 or 4, and you just play the heck out of those ones. Oh, yeah. So once you got done through those, did it kind of snowball and you just kind of started buying one?
Then we started, and now we've got lots of them in there.
Got some really good ones here. I haven't played them all. So what was it about the modern board games that drew you in? What was it that attracted you to them?
I like the fact that it gives you a lot to think about. It lets you kind of play them over and over again and have things just a little bit different in a lot of them, or things come out in different orders, and it gives you a different puzzle to solve every time, or a little bit different interactions, and it just gives you a little bit of a little brain exercise, kind of puzzly, and I really like that aspect of it. And I also like being able to spend time with friends and family and do things like that. Just gives a little bit of push on the fun.
Yeah, so exercising your brain, spending time with people, and then another thing you mentioned I want to touch on a little bit is that it can be different every time. That was one thing that drew me in, was the fact that you could play the same game over and over and it didn't feel like the same game.
Right. It wasn't whoever, does this is just going to win.
Right.
It's, this time this happens, so we need to adjust and we need to do these things different. And it keeps it fresh and lets you play things.
Yeah, and it's not just randomized, also just rolling dice until someone gets a better die roll.
Right.
What is your favorite board game of all time?
Favorite board game of all time? Ooh, that's probably Terraforming Mars. I really like that.
Oh, really? That's my number 1 as well. So what is it that you like about Terraforming Mars?
I like the engine building aspect. I like that you can take some different routes, and based on all the different cards you have, you can do different things every game. There's a lot of kind of space to explore within it. And I like that. And I like that it's a little bit different. And it's not just different because of what you're dealt. It's different because you can try to push towards other things when you play.
I remember the first time I played it, it had what I thought one of the most unique endings to a board game. You've got the 3 global parameters. You're all a corporation trying to race to terraform Mars. And it's over once you've raised the oxygen, the temperature, and put water on Mars, which is very scientific. I like the space and science type stuff too.
Yeah.
Cool. What about your least favorite game?
My least favorite game? Ooh, it's got to be probably Chutes and Ladders, just because there's not really anything there. It got played to death when we had little kids that liked to do it because I wanted them just to be able to play something. Now we've got them on to better games and things that I enjoy playing, but that one's got to it's just a sore spot for me.
I mean, it's almost 100% luck, right?
Right. It's just roll the dice, okay, do the thing, and then somebody else does it, and there's nothing really else going on.
So what is your latest crush? What I describe that as the latest game that you've been digging. Not necessarily your favorite game of all time, but everyone kind of has a current crush.
I've really liked playing through the Century trilogy. I haven't played the newest one yet, but we've got it. I like the other two. I like mixing them up. I think that they're really fun, and I've been enjoying those lately.
What do you like about Century Spice?
It's the same thing. I like being able to build the engine. I like to be able to say, oh, I can buy these, and if I can get everything to work right and the right cards come up, you can have these huge turns and you get things going, and you don't have to start all the way over to reset, and you can just roll from one to the next. And I think that's fun to be able to do when you can get it to pull off.
Yeah, maybe I just had a bad combo my first game or something, but it was, for me, it didn't click. But on Century Eastern Wonders is the second one, right? That one clicked for me, and I just was like rolling through the game, and I really enjoyed that one. I think it's cool how the artwork. Oh no, you don't have it behind you. That was in the store we went to the other day, but the artwork on the box says lines up across. I think that's a pretty cool design.
I thought it was, that's the other thing. Is there's it's kind of gimmicky, but it's kind of cool too. It's like, okay, we've got all these 3, they go together, they're a set, they can play with each other, and they can do some things. It was neat.
Yeah, that's cool. Who do you generally play board games with?
Generally, it's my wife and I, or us as a family, or it's us with other friends and couples playing. But I would say the majority is me and my wife play.
Gotcha.
Most frequently.
Okay. What game are you looking forward to that's coming out soon?
Let's see. I've got a couple of Kickstarters. We just kickstarted Tiny Epic Dinosaurs.
Okay.
That one actually looks pretty cool.
Team the Epic series. We've been playing the Galaxies recently. It's a lot of fun.
That one's good.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with the Tiny Epic series, they're all these games that all fit in this super portable box, and they pack a lot of game into the box. It's really surprising. You mentioned it a little bit, but let's talk a little bit more in detail about what it is that draws you into board games and why you like playing board games.
The thing I like most is that it gives you a reason to sit down with friends and family and do something with them that's, you get to interact with them, you get to see the different sides of their personalities, and just have a good, fun time. It's low stakes, it's just fun, and you can have a good time and build good friendships.
Yeah, I like that about board games. It's definitely a cool way to bring people together of lots of different personalities, backgrounds, and you have that board on the table in between you, and so if you don't have something to talk about, you've at least got that game as a buffer, and then naturally the conversations just start coming out. And for me, it's not about the board game. I like board games, but like you said, bringing people together. I think that's well said.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of, we're out at Funko BangCon 3 right now. This is a tradition that we started several years ago. This is the 3rd annual Funko BangCon, where I come out and we all get together with Will and his family, and we hang out, play board games, do some non-board game things too, and just enjoy several days together. And we figured, why not shoot a segment of Board Game Stories while I'm out here?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've got to do some really good fun things this year.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Well, thanks for coming on, Will. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
If you like this video, please subscribe for more board game related videos. And if you're interested in coming on Board Game Stories, just shoot me a message and I'd be happy to have you on. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.